gains on that. The president said in June that they'd blown them all up, that they'd obliterated it, I think was the term that he used. Now they're kind of saying that they may have some more there and we need to go get it. And we've heard from other sources there's 1,000 pounds of uranium that's still around in Iran. So it's on the wrong track. He's been terrible with the wheel. The threats of total annihilation were, beyond the pale. It's time for Congress to step in and take control of the wheel.
Now, how can that be true? How can Iran be in a stronger position in regards to the Straits of Hormuz than they were a month ago? How? We've had, 10,000 bombs dropped, 10,000 sites targeted. Even if only 1% of them actually accomplish their mission, that's still 100 military sites that have been blown up. You can't say they haven't been diminished at all. You may say it may not be as optimistic as the administration is putting out there, but to say they're stronger now than they were, that's silliness. And that's coming out of a congressman in the United States. What the hell? Another guy at the same press availability. This is a Democrat representative. His name's Don Beyer.
The only final reconciliation here will be diplomacy. We had a joint comprehensive plan of action in the Obama administration that was going to postpone any nuclear weapon they had for at least 20 years. It's worked really well. Trump tore it up, and now he's trying to do it.
Hang on, stop. It worked really well? Oh, really? It's been working well? Yeah, Iran hasn't been a bad player ever since they've signed that deal with Obama. No, we've given them billions of dollars in just straight up cash. Do you not remember October 7th happening? Representative Beyer, B-Y-E-R. Do you not remember that they've been funding the Houthi rebels? They've been funding Hezbollah. They've been funding Hamas. They've been funding all kinds of terrorism all over the world. Their IEDs have been showing up, killing American soldiers in Afghanistan and Iraq for 2 decades. Sure, that's a great the deal. What a good deal that Obama made. No problem there. No, we don't have a bunch of Iranian drones being used supporting Putin in the Ukraine war. No, that's just a figment of our imagination. Yeah, that Obama, he really put Iran on ice with that deal. What are you talking about? Again, I would like to reserve my initial position. If I were president, I wouldn't have gone into this war. I wouldn't have bombed Iran. But to act like they're stronger now is just eye-rolling silly. Like, you sound silly saying it. And then to say, well, the Obama deal was great, as if Iran has been a good player since they signed the deal almost 2 decades ago. Yeah, they signed the deal. We gave them billions of dollars in cash, and they instantly turned around and took all that cash Obama gave them and funded terrorism around the world with it, some of it killing Americans. Yeah, great deal. Great deal, Don Beyer. Now, I appreciate the fact that some people in Congress want to do a War Powers Act. I appreciate the fact that some people want to speak up and go down on the record as being for or against this. But until you're going to have the vote, there's only so much criticism you can give. Just stop it. The other weird angle on this one is the NATO Secretary General, isn't that what he's called? Ruda. Ruda was on with Jake Tapper last night on CNN. And I made a montage of the first 4, I think it might be 5 questions Jake Tapper asked. And it was just different angles of trying to split the United States from NATO. And it's like, look, if you had like your best friend was dating some girl you didn't like, and you were trying to break them up, this is the type of questions you would ask. You would ask, hey, have you ever thought about breaking up with Matt before? Has it ever crossed your mind? Have you ever had that conversation? Have you ever thought about it? Well, when he does dumb things that you disagree with, does that make it one of the options in the future that maybe possibly one day you could maybe sort of think about breaking up? And if there's ever any deference given to those questions, then you immediately turn around and tell Matt, she's thinking about breaking up with you, dude. She told me herself she wants to break up. He was farming for a headline that they were going to intentionally distort and mislead people with, and he never got the answer he wanted because Ruda's not an idiot. Ruda was onto him. You'll hear it next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Is Trump going to break up with NATO? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. It sounds like the media is rooting for it, which makes me kind of question my position. I don't think we need NATO. I think if we're spending billions and billions of dollars on the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and we're getting nothing out of it, end it. You know, the whole point of NATO was to counter the second. This was the first world alliance that was supposed to be countering the second world alliance. And a lot of people have a misconception of first world, second world, third world. They just think it's rich, not quite as rich and poor. But the way the world's lined up after World War II, if you were in the American orbit, if you were in the Western European and American orbit, where your country was run by a constitution with Enlightenment ideals and you had a prime minister, and generally speaking, you were a free market economy, you were in the first world. The second world was people who were aligned with Russia or China, the communist part of the world. And so whether you wanted to be communist or not, you know, Czechoslovakia forced to be communist, Romania, all those countries over there that were behind the Iron Curtain, along with China and Mongolia. And you get the, you know, random stragglers like Cuba because they were well within the Soviet orbit. That's the second world. Third world's everything else. And in the absence of the Soviet Union, you know, it collapsed, and, you know, a perfect free market Western economy didn't emerge from it, but the Iron Curtain did fall. And so Poland got its freedom back. Czechia and the Slovakians got their republic back. You could say the same for pretty much all of Eastern Europe. You know, Austria, Hungary, Slovenia, Yugoslavia split up. All those new countries came to be. So NATO really just became an anti-Russia itself alliance. And if they're not stepping up in the equal parts when we're literally fighting Russia, then it's a defunct thing. And it's one of the things our founding fathers warned against, these entangling alliances. Costs us a bunch of money. And are we getting anything positive out of it? So I'm not even that concerned about NATO being broken up. I am suspicious about the line of questioning from Jake Tapper to Mark Rutte. He's the Secretary General for NATO. It's almost like he's trying to split them up. So instead of letting you hear all the answers, I just left his one answer that he repeated 4 times at the end so you could hear what his answer was. And then I just edited all of Jake Tapper's questions together. And I made the little walkie-talkie sound with my mouth to sort of delineate when one question ends, he gets an answer and then starts another question. And no reason for that, just because I thought it would sound funny. But check out this line of questioning. It's like, are you trying to break us up, Jake Tapper?
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte is here with me now, and you just came from a meeting at the White House with President Trump. He's not been hiding his frustrations with NATO countries. How was the meeting? Did he say he's withdrawing? Did the president say he was going to try to withdraw from NATO, or at the very least not support NATO as much as other presidents have? The Wall Street Journal is reporting that the president is weighing punishing some NATO allies for not being helpful to the U.S. and Israel during the war. Quote, the proposal would involve moving U.S. troops out of NATO member countries deemed unhelpful to the Iran war effort and station them in countries that were more supportive of the U.S. military campaign. Did the president talk about that at all today? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not worried at all, 10 being terrified, where do you leave Washington thinking President Trump, your opinion of President Trump wanting to leave NATO? Are you 1, I'm not worried at all, 10, I'm really worried Trump is going to pull out of NATO? Here is the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt when asked about the joint statement from the NATO governments about the Strait of Hormuz. Here's what she had to say.
I have a direct quote from the President of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested and they failed.
Do you agree that NATO countries, some of them were tested and failed? How many NATO allied countries, a lot or a little, thought that the war that President Trump and Israel waged against Iran was illegal, was an illegal war? Do you think that's a prevalent view?
No, because NATO has always taken the position that degrading these capabilities of nuclear and the ballistic missiles is crucial, and that Iran can never get its hands on those two capabilities. There is widespread support for that point of view.
So I get the feeling he was trying to extract any sort of concession on that repeated question that he said, what was that, 4 or 5 times? So he could turn around and have the headline. So they could put on the chyron, the little caption at the bottom of the screen for the rest of the day. Trump threatens to end NATO. Trump at odds with NATO allies. Trump ruining our relationship with a 100-year-old, I guess it's only like an 80-year-old organization. Treaty, whatever. But the last question from Jake Tapper to Mark Rutte, Secretary General of the UN, I don't think he got the answer he was expecting. He's expecting some sort of concession so he can turn around and blow that up and make the whole interview be about that. But he asked if the world is safer after the Iran war. And I think he expected the opposite answer.
Is the world safer today than it was before the war was started?
Absolutely. Because, and this is thanks to President Trump's leadership, degrading these capabilities is really very important for your and my safety here in the US, in Europe, in the Middle East.
There you go. Absolutely, huh? I wasn't expecting that one. So I guess things are going pretty good from the point of view of NATO. Now, if you want to be super cynical, and that is welcome on the James Show, I am pretty damn cynical myself. You got to think that NATO would be crazy to go out and say anything negative against Trump in a situation like this, because if there's no NATO, Mark Rutte is out of a job, isn't he? Right? What's he going to do? Yeah, is this a kiss up? Is that what this was? Please don't end the organization that is overpaying me for a job. I am not qualified to do anything else. Because if NATO goes under, what's Mark Rutte qualified to do? He's going to be folding T-shirts in the Baby Gap at North Park Mall. So I don't trust that, but it is nice for the media to come out there and try and get something negative out of Trump from the NATO Secretary General, and he just couldn't get it as hard as he tried. Boy, he tried hard. Thought you would appreciate that montage. And I'm coming up with a bunch of stupid montages this week, because this isn't as bad. The dumbest montage of the week was the taco montage from yesterday.
President Trump's critics have coined the acronym TACO for Trump always chickens out.
And there will be some who will call it TACO, Trump always chickens out.
The TACO, Trump always chickens out syndrome.
It was the Taco Tuesday of all Taco Tuesdays as our president.
How is he the chicken out guy? He's the first guy to bomb the Ayatollahs. He's the first guy to actually do something about it. Obama sent him pallets of cash, billions of dollars of your printed money went to the Ayatollah. He's not a chicken out, but Trump is. He murdered the guy. He assassinated their world leader. He went and picked up the leader of Venezuela. If you say anything about Trump, it might be that he's a little too trigger happy or a little too froggy and, jumps at the slightest of provocations, but he's definitely not a chicken. Amazing montages. They're just giving me so much material to work with. It's fantastic. And really, I have to thank them for their craziness. It's all fantastic. Coming up next on the James Show, we have had a rash of gun violence in Tarrant County, and you are not going to like the solutions that are proposed. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We have a rash of shootings in Fort Worth. That's not very Fort Worth-like. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, if anybody's going to be getting shot around here, it needs to be in Dallas, right? Isn't that what we're used to? Joking, obviously. But whenever you have a rash of violence coming out of a place that usually doesn't have a rash of violence, that's worthy of some attention. Well, first, let's get you caught up on a couple of the stories here. Here is... WFAA was talking about it this morning, and they wrapped in a few of the shootings into the same package here. So at the beginning, you're going to get the details of the violence that's been happening. But the part I want you to pay attention to is what they tell you to do, like what the reaction is. Here's how you fix this problem. You just got to, lock up the guns? That's the part I want to ask you about. Do you agree with that part?
3 people shot in Fort Worth last night continued a hard week of gun violence in the city. It was just a couple days ago that Police Chief Eddie Garcia talked about what it would take to bring an end to it all. Last night, officers say the woman pulled a gun and shot 3 people, including her boyfriend. At last check, all 3 were stable at the hospital, and the woman was in custody. Just days earlier on Easter Sunday, a 16-year-old died when police say his friend accidentally fired a gun. Just days before that case, 15-year-old Prince Washington was killed in a drive-by shooting. Chief Garcia said stopping the violence is a community effort, and part of that effort includes responsibility.
We need to ensure that our community knows that a firearm needs to be handled responsibly. It needs to be secured, whether in your apartment, whether it's in your car, or whether in a home.
And Garcia did say, even though it has been a violent week, that overall violent crime numbers in the city are trending downward.
Yeah, I just can't stand this. It used to not bother me as bad, but over the years, as I keep hearing it over and over and over, I just get more intolerant of the silliness. The problem with gun violence isn't that, well, we just need to lock up our guns better. That's the problem. They just need to lock up their guns better. That's ridiculous. And look, all you have to do to almost any of the fake reasons for gun control, for restricting your gun rights, or for really so many of these other social issues, not necessarily economic issues, but social issues. Let's go look at the places that don't have gun violence. And tell me, what is the difference in the two societies, the one that does have a lot of gun violence and the one that doesn't? Is it because they're really locking up their guns? You realize around 70% of the counties in America have either 0 or 1, which is, it's almost like the exception that proves the rule. Have no gun violence, have no murders like this. Sure, they'll have suicides and whatnot from guns. But in 70% of America, we don't have this problem. Is it because we lock up our guns better? Really? Because if you're new to the show, I am but a lowly hick who just crawled out of a cabin in the middle of East Texas. That's only a little bit of hyperbole. I really did live in a log cabin in the middle of the woods in East Texas. We had guns everywhere. We had guns there all over the house. We did everything but hang them from the Christmas tree. You know how many guns I had access to when I was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up through adulthood? I had guns at my disposal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Thank you very much. No, it's not a problem with locking up the guns. I didn't avoid a life of crime. Like, I wasn't like, I think I'm going to go pull a drive-by. Yeah, we're going to go by the Tractor Supply store. And they ripped me off on an alfalfa bale yesterday, so I'm going to show them. Oh, it's locked. I can't do it. Shoot. Best, I guess I'll go feed the chickens. No, that's not what happens. You got to lock up your guns. Well, they will do anything but to admit that there might just be some sort of problem within that community that can't be blamed on the outside world. You know what we do have in the nice neighborhoods where there's not gun crime? In Highland Park, or in Little Elm, or out in Buck Tussle where I'm from. You know what we have? We have dads. That's what we have. And that is the number one determining factor on whether or not you're going to pick up a gun and use it in a crime. Not your socioeconomic status, not whether or not you're poor, not even whether or not you're white or black, male or female. It's whether or not you have a dad. And whether or not you have a dad far outstrips the likelihood of gun violence coming from that household, whether or not you have gun locks or you have gun safes or you, I don't know, give them up to the government in a gun buyback. So dumb. It is so, I can't stand this. Oh, you just got to do a better job locking them up. How are you going to lock up a gun from a 16-year-old? He can't figure that out? You're going to have to put it in what, like a coded safe? You're going to have to put it back there where you have to type in some code and know that? He can't steal the code? He's not going to know? What's the point of even having a gun? If a 16-year-old can't defend himself, if there's a home invader, what if he's saving your wife's life and his siblings' lives, so you have the lives of the other kids? It's so silly how they won't blame the criminals. Oh no, it's the pro-gun lobby and all the pro-gun, the NRA types that won't do this very commonsensical gun control reforms that would save lives. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. And I don't understand this. How are criminals not responsible for what they're doing right now? How is this my fault or your fault or anybody else's fault other than the households and the communities that are producing people that are this flippant and bad with guns? How is it blamed on the outside world? How are they not responsible? How is that community not responsible? Remember, you and I, we're responsible for the actions of white people in the 1800s. But they're not responsible for the crimes they're committing right now. You see it in Charlotte right now. Remember the guy that stabbed the Ukrainian, the 23-year-old Iryana Zarutska or whatever her name was? You realize he's not going to stand trial. He was found incompetent to stand trial. That's wild. He's not even going to be held to account for that. He just did it right now. Did anyone say, oh, whoa, we got to do a better job locking up our knives? No. Why? Because that sounds stupid. Right. Sounds dumb when they say it for guns, too. Oh, I can't believe that woman got stabbed on the train. We got to do a better job locking up our locking up our knives. Oh, the lady got set off in New York and in Chicago. We got to do a better job, locking up our lighter fluid? The problem isn't the inanimate object that the criminals are using. The problem is the criminals. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, another story like this. It's amazing. In Fort Worth, a man's arrested for shooting a guy who was soliciting minors for sex. I can't believe we arrested that guy. He's a hero. Hear about the hero. Dontavius Williams coming up next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Shouldn't we be able to shoot pedophiles? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. You're home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. My next guest is going to help me with the grown-up aspects of this. He's the legal analyst, unofficial legal analyst on the James Show, Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com. Welcome back. And our case today is for our neighbor over in Fort Worth. His name's Dontavius Williams. And in his apartment complex, where he has nieces who told him that there's this guy who's obviously on something, running around soliciting minors for sex, also offering them drugs. So he grabbed his gun, confronted the guy, didn't like the answers he got, gunshot. Police were already showing up because someone had called in the solicitation of minors, and the cops actually heard the single gunshot. They found him next door at the convenience store. He had been shot in the groin. Now, if he actually is a predator who is preying on children, then I think this is a justifiable shot. I wish it had been a fatal shot, but apparently the law doesn't see it the same way. Explain this to me, Jeremy Rosenthal. We can't just shoot a pedophile in the groin? Dang. All right, Jeremy Rosenthal, then let's go through the hypotheticals here, and you can help me where the legal boundaries are. If I am a guy and someone is sexually assaulting me, in the moment, can I shoot them? Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Was that the squeal like a pig reference? Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so now I walk around the corner and I look in the alley between two apartment buildings and I see someone sexually assaulting a minor. Can I shoot him? I'm sorry to interrupt you here. I just have a minute left. Are we stepping into jury nullification debates here? Right. Well, if this guy goes to jail, we should have like a big fundraiser for him, and he'll just have the biggest commissary fund of anybody in Tarrant County Jail. And I don't know. Well, Jeremy, you could volunteer your time. Thank you very much. Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com. If you're going to run around shooting pedophiles, you might want to call him if you get in trouble for it. Thank you very much, Jeremy. And that wasn't a recommendation to go shoot anybody. Don't get upset and send me email. I don't want to hear from anybody's lawyer. You guys can already calm down. I can hear you getting yourself worked up. Oh, he's telling people to shoot people. Get a lawyer. We can sue him now. You don't understand what I have to deal with behind the scenes. TLC, Salt and Pepper, In Vogue. Coming to the Pavilion at Toyota Music Factory on October 5th. You can dance like it's 1997 all over again. For tickets and information, go to livenation.com. Coming up next on The James Show, Pooh Shiesty. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. You're about to get the update on some really stupid criminals here locally. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Yeah, that was the wrong dang button. This one. Haha, that's better. I am your host, James Parker. So Pooh Shiesty, terrible name, by the way. Terrible name. Because to the outside world, I don't know if you were trying to... He's a rapper who got arrested here last week for trying to rob, or for robbing another rapper, Gucci Mane. Before we get into the details and update on his story, can we just ruminate and enjoy, kind of savor how stupid his name is? Because I realize you're in the rap game. You're going to have to come up with something catchy, something that looks good. But Pooh Shiesty? Pooh isn't a very positive adjective. The only positive use of Pooh in your entire life has been Winnie the Pooh, which still isn't very, street cred. Shut up. Garrett. The other one, shiesty. Shiesty's not a good word either. If someone's shiesty, that means they're what? They're sketchy. They're swindlers. They're a hat man. So your name is Pooh. It does have an H on it, if you're wondering how it's spelled. It's not like the fecal form. It's like the Winnie the Pooh form. But still, it sounds like you're saying poo, like poop. Poop, shiesty. Great. His music's not that good. It's not, I'm not a big fan of trap music as it is, but even within that genre, unimpressed. But the crime here is just so dumb. He was signed to Gucci Mane's record label. He wanted to get out of his contract. So he had to meet him here in Dallas. When they got in the studio and they were talking business, a bunch of guys show up with guns. They make Gucci Mane sign a new contract under duress, and then they rob them of their jewelry and their watches and their cash. And then they turn around and they show off the jewelry, the cash, the identifiable evidence here of your crime, and they shared it on social media. It is just beyond dumb. So here's your update from WFAA.
Today, rapper Pooh Shiesty is set to appear in federal court. Born Lontrell Williams Jr., he is among 9 suspects facing charges in the alleged kidnapping and robbery of fellow rapper Gucci Mane.
I can't believe how dumb that is. Now, the reason I'm telling you this isn't because, we have our finger on the pulse of the criminal rap community. I wanted to dovetail that with another headline that happened last week that had a resolution. This week has an update on it. Last week I told you about the Stars Nazis. Stars Nazis? What's that? Well, at a Stars game, there were 3 guys who, whenever the Stars score, they play this song that Pantera wrote just for the Stars called Puck You. See how it sounds like something else? And you wave your fist. Well, these guys were waving a flat hand, so it kind of looked like they were doing a Nazi salute. Now, no one complained at the time, but this woman took some video of them and then put it online and then fussed until the Stars finally tracked these guys down and banned them. But this happened back in December. So we have a 4-month crusade to go track down and punish some white guys who are out of bounds for doing what could be perceived as a Nazi salute. We still haven't heard from them. We still don't have any explanation. Were you just doing the Roman salute? Were you doing the Vulcan salute? Or who did that? Klingons, Romulans? Didn't somebody do that in Star Trek? The Vulcans did the salute like that? Were they Nazis? All right, I got you. Anyway, here's the update from WFAA.
Noon tonight, the American Airlines Center has just banned one fan from entering the arena indefinitely after making a hateful gesture. Take a look at this viral clip from a Dallas Stars game in December. It shows a group of fans doing what appears to be the Nazi salute after the Stars scored a goal. Now, we blurred the men's faces because they haven't been charged with a crime, and we haven't independently spoken with them about the gesture. But the Stars tell us they found out who bought the tickets, and that person has been banned from the AAC, meaning they can't attend any Stars or Mavs games and concerts too. The team says it's reminding fans about the code of conduct during games.
I can't believe the journalistic conventions that we all just accept. How is it newsworthy that white guys back in December may have made a gesture that could be perceived as racist 4 months ago? How is that new? By what journalistic standard is that news? You're just scaring everybody. It's all about narrative building. That's the only thing that makes sense. Was anybody hurt? Was anybody's rights violated? Did anybody of color even see the Nazi salute, if not for the white lady that filmed it and put it online? Was anybody harmed? Was anybody even offended by that? It sounds like there was one woke white lady who saw this salutes, because it looks like they were pretty much the back row. But we've got to go track this down, and it's newsworthy. And look, if you don't understand why I'm confounded by this, maybe you're new to the show. Let me ask you this. Have you ever seen one news report on any news station at any level, local, national, in your entire life, about a person of color doing an offensive hand gesture? Have you ever heard any news reporting on anti-white racism? And I don't mean specifically at a Stars game. I mean ever. Is there even a gesture that could make the news that you find offensive? And I mean, like, racially speaking, of course, flipping the bird or, something sexual like that. But is there any anti-white gesture out there that the news has jumped on ever? How come it only gets reported one way? Has there ever been any reports about any anti-white racism ever? Of all the terrible stories about interracial violence between cops and criminals, can you name one where it was a white criminal that got killed by the cops? No? Think about all of the other scenarios that you can hear, and tell me if this isn't straight up grooming, because you know the stories of Michael Brown, of Freddie Gray, of George Floyd. There's murals for him everywhere. There's historical markers for him everywhere. Roads are named after him. They make songs about him. But is there any racist cops that are killing white people for sport? No. But they kill more white people every year than black people. Just none of it makes the news? No. And then part of that was what was so exceptional about the Renee Good and Alex Preddy story. It's like, well, we finally got the media to report on cops killing a white person. This is as close as we've gotten. As close as we're going to get. Don't get your hopes up. It's not going to get better than that. But coming up next, the details coming out of Charlotte from the guy who stabbed the 23-year-old beautiful blonde Ukrainian woman to death on the train, walking out saying, I got that white girl. I got that white girl. He's not going to stand trial. We'll talk about that next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So there's going to be no justice for the stabbing death on the Charlotte train from last year. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. You're home from Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. They're on from 11 to 2, and I heard them talking about this. The guy that we all saw in that scary video that stood up, repeatedly stabbed a little 23-year-old blonde girl from Ukraine. Just cold, just no emotion, didn't know her. The shocking part of the video isn't just the stabbing. It's the other 4 people that were on the train that didn't do anything about it. And a lot of people think that there's a racial aspect to this for a couple reasons. Number one, first thing he said, and it's on audio, I got that white girl. I got that white girl. He walked up to another black guy and said that. The other thing that horrifies a lot of people is all the people on the train that just stood by and watched it. So we had 4 people watch that happened to be black, watch a 5th black guy stab a lady to death with the only explanation, the only identifying factor about her was the color of her skin. He didn't say, I got that blonde girl. I didn't get that blue-eyed girl. I got that white girl. He saw her based solely on her race. He's not going to have to stand trial. This is a guy who has been arrested 14 times before. His name's DeCarlos Brown. And he's been convicted of many misdemeanors, many felonies. He's done a lot of time, and he keeps getting out. A 14-time arrested violent offender. Murders Irina Zarutska on video. Found incapable to proceed on the murder charge. So the case is frozen. No trial. But in his record, remember, the first time he got arrested and had to go to court, he was found capable to stand trial. The second time, he was found capable to stand trial. The third time, he was found capable to stand trial. 4th time, capable to stand trial. 5th time, capable. 6th time, capable. 7th time, capable. The 8th time, though, he was arrested and charged with a violent crime. He was found capable to stand trial. 9th time, capable. 10th time, capable. We get it, James. We get it. No, I want you to hear them all. 11th time, he was found capable to stand trial. 12th time, capable to stand trial. 13th, capable. 14th time, he was arrested. He was found capable to stand trial. But the 15th time, incapable to stand trial. For all of you people who think this is some sort of racist, white supremacist hellhole, is this what our justice system would look like? A black guy can go out and commit all the crimes he wants, and he's going to go to trial for it unless it's a white person? Unless it's a white victim? You know, if this was a white supremacist country with Klansmen lurking in the shadows around every corner, would this guy have been lynched already? That's what y'all make it sound like. Anybody going to block any highways for this girl? Here's a real injustice. Y'all went and blocked highways, and you rioted in Ferguson and a bunch of other major metropolitan areas because Michael Brown, a repeated criminal, was shot after committing a crime while attacking a cop. And that was an injustice that was just too far for you. But this one, no concerns, no groups, no protests, no foam core signs, no cute little chants. Hey, hey, ho, ho, something's got to go. I know. I'm tired of hearing it too. What an absolute miscarriage of justice. What should really happen is this guy should get the trial that he deserves. We'll give him his due process. We'll let the jury of his peers go by, because this seems like an open and shut case. This wasn't a crime of passion. This wasn't self-defense. There was some premeditation. I don't know if he woke up thinking, I'm going to kill a white person today. But at some point he went, hey, this lady that's sitting in front of me, not even aware I'm here, not even able to defend herself, not even talking to me, not provoking me in any way, I think I'm going to kill her. And then he stands up and he does repeated killing attacks, fatal attacks, and then walks off. Is there any more open, shut, guilty verdict possible? So what should happen to this guy is after he gets his due process, he should be dragged out onto the lawn of the county courthouse and should be hanged. And it should be live streamed. We should put the fear of God into all these would-be murderers. And we really need to do something about the soft on crime judges. I mean, a guy that gets arrested 14 times is still out there. I mean, you're releasing a guy who's now found, oh, so he's so crazy and so violent, he's not even capable to stand trial. Then why y'all let him out 14 times? We've got something going on with the justice system there. And it's not all the justice systems everywhere. Man, we throw people in jail for light causes out in Bug Tussle. And if you have empathy for the criminals, where's your empathy for the victims? Where's your empathy for the community that you're releasing these people back into? And any parent with a daughter should be especially freaked out about this. Because the easiest prey in any society is a small woman. They are the weakest, they are the less able to defend themselves, and they are the choice victim if you're a psychopath looking to lash out and commit an act of violence. And now you know that they don't even have the incentive of the justice system coming down on them. In fact, if anything, this has incentivized and emboldened future psychos to commit more acts of violence. And no one wants to speak out about it because of the racial angle. Bunch of cowards. All of us should be freaking out about this. I'm not saying we should do what they do and make a bunch of signs and go block roads and start looting the nearest Foot Locker or break down the windows in the front of Target and run out with a bunch of clothes. No, but we should be doing something. This should be a bigger headline than Melania Trump saying that she wasn't an Epstein client. We know you weren't, babe. Don't worry, we know you weren't. I mean, it may not be bigger than the Iran war, but it should be up there. We get the concern. Oh, there's some guys that made a Nazi salute at a Stars game 4 months ago. Look out for those white guys. We've got to get that. We've got to have every bad messaging in the interracial relations that makes white people look bad. But in this one, he didn't have to stand trial. Murder white people. We don't care. It'll be hilarious. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. More on the monumental injustice for the unpunished murderer of Aranya Zarutska coming up on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. We're talking about the killer of the Ukrainian immigrant, the 23-year-old blonde lady on the train in Charlotte. He's not going to have to stand trial. He was found incapable of standing trial. Oh, that's interesting. For the first 14 arrests, he was capable of standing trial. But he murders a white woman and says, I got that white girl. Oh, he's too crazy to stand trial. We can't hold him accountable for this. So what's he going to do? Is he just going to go to a state hospital? That's interesting. That's interesting. I just, because the narrative you're told, number one, is to look out for white rural rage. Now we have urban non-white rage. And a white person is the victim of it. That doesn't fit the narrative at all. We better sweep this under the rug. Thank goodness we don't have to have a trial for it. So we have a big problem with judges. I think is one of the takeaways here. It's not the race. The race part is not the takeaway. That's just an unfortunate, sickening pattern. But this problem is the judges. The fact that he was out in the streets to begin with. You can blame that on judges and, prosecutors who give light deals. And so letting him out 14 times, that's not enough. Now when he does actually murder somebody, we still don't punish him. What the hell's going on, people? Lawrence, Fort Worth, you're on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, Lawrence.
Hey, my brother, you and I, we need to break bread more often because I'm going to tell you something. I'm 100% and 10% in agreement with you. My wife is in agreement with you. Here is the point. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and color ain't got nothing to do with it. And I say this, and I'm on record with a lot of different people. If you hurt me and mine, I'm going to hurt you and yours. I would not be offended if somebody killed that nasty dog and did some dirt to his family, because I am responsible for my son, my wife, and my daughter. I raised my kids to do right, to be good citizens. So if you violate me and my family, I will kill everything in your house, from the cat to the grandmama. I will even shoot your baby. Now, that's how violent I will become if you bring violence to my doorstep. And this is one reason the hood rats in the black community don't bother me. Because if you mess with me and mine, I will wage war on your whole doggone family. And I will not blame no white person if they did the same. Because right is right and wrong is wrong. He didn't have no right to kill that woman. She got family. She got loved ones. And you gonna take her life? Oh, no. He's supposed to be put to death. And anybody that condoned what he did, they ain't worth the crap that come out of a dog's rear end.
All right, but
and
Lawrence...
the bottom line of it is...
Let me just, can I interrupt for a second? Because you're on a hell of a roll there. But I don't think anyone condones what he did. I think they want to sweep this under the rug and not let the rest of the world ruminate and think about this because it destroys the narrative. I don't think anybody condones what he did.
Oh, no, brother. Let me tell you something. There are black people. There are black people in the black community who cheers what he did. There are a lot of black people that don't mind what he did. These are the people that I'm talking about. These are the predators in our community. Black, white, Latino, Asian. A predator is a predator. You don't look at a person's color. You look at their behavior. And there are a lot of black people who cheered him. You don't hear no outrage coming from the black community. That tells you that there are a lot of black people who control the narrative. They don't have.
Yeah, look, Lawrence, I see black people saying that online, but in my experience growing up, and then I've had to work with a lot of black people in adulthood, and live next door to them and go to church with them, and I never meet those people in person. I've met some black activists in person, but I don't know if I've met anyone who would cheer that. Hey, great to hear from you. And Lawrence, I'm going to be at the Whiskey and Rye again 1 week from today. That's the next Parker's Pour, and that's actually Lawrence and I hung out. I got a picture with him last time he was at the Parker's Pour. If you're not familiar with this, the third Thursday of every month on the James Show, we do it live from the Whiskey and Rye Bar at the Omni Fort Worth Hotel. I do a live show from 2 to 5, and then we do a couple rounds of trivia. And that's the plan thus far, although if the plans change, I'll let you know. I'm still going to be there. I just don't know if we're going to do the trivia. We're trying to get a special guest in there, but I don't want to ruin it in case it doesn't happen. Greg in Burleson. You're on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP.
Love the show. One of my favorite, probably the favorite talk show.
Well, it's the best one, yeah.
So, I was not warm to you at first, but I love you now. So anyway, first of all, dude that did this should have been taken out when he did it by somebody on that train. If I'd been on that train, dude would have been dropped.
Daniel Penny. We need more Daniel Pennies. Daniel Penny is the hero. Kyle Rittenhouse is the hero. Yep. Oh, and I forgot to tell everybody. Kyle Rittenhouse was at Bo French's fundraiser last Friday. I sat at a table with Kyle effing Rittenhouse. That was cool.
Hero status, in my opinion. So
absolutely,
this guy that did this should have been dropped on that train. No more trial, no more breathing. Secondly, judges that let people out like this and they go out and commit a crime, I don't want the judge to lose their job. I want the judge to lose their life. If we start murdering or putting to death these judges that let out these people who recreate these crimes over and over and over, I have a feeling our judiciary is going to get the picture at some point. So kill the judges, and I don't mean that hyperbolically. I'm telling you, we need to start killing the judges.
Okay. I'm just out of time. It's kind of hard to argue against Greg in Burleson. I mean, I don't mean let's just go out and start stabbing judges Julius Caesar style, but give them a due process. And all right, coming up next, Adam Gillett's coming back on. He is from Accuracy in Media, and he did an undercover investigation and found that the University of North Texas administrators admit that they're still teaching DEI just under new labels. And bro, that's illegal. Details coming up next on The James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. There's sneaking DEI in Texas universities, and that's illegal. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. My next guest coming back on, and he said did such a good time last time he was on. I'm surprised it's been this long. Adam Gillett's coming back on. Accuracy in Media. Tell the world about your latest investigation that shows the University of North Texas is still sneaking DEI curriculum in there against the law. Sure. Okay, so where does this run afoul with the law? How far does the law go? Why do we give a rip what the accreditors think? Sorry to interrupt. Okay. That doesn't seem very fair, Adam. What do you guys recommend we do to fix this? We just need a bill at the state level to include curriculum. Is there not a job for us to, like, could we direct our ire at University of North Texas and fix this? Or do we need to direct our ire to the people in D.C.? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, Adam Gillett, Accuracy in Media, is our guest. We talk about that all the time on the James Show. And people are shocked when I give them the facts that compared to what the situation was in the year 2000, about the time I was finishing my college career, the number of students has remained almost static. It's been almost the same, but the amount of money that is thrown at the colleges has more than doubled. The size of the Department of Education has more than doubled. Pell Grants have more than doubled. And all that money didn't go to more teachers. They don't need more teachers. They had enough teachers in 2000. It's all going to administration, and all this is left-wing busybodies with make-work jobs. This is pretty much daycare for people who hate you politically. Yeah. Man, that's good stuff. Hey, Adam, don't make me track you down. Next time you have a good expose like this in my own backyard, you need to be emailing me. All right. This is Adam Gillett, the website for accuracy in media, aim.org, AIM.org. Thank you very much, Adam. Let me squeeze in a phone call here. Deborah in Weatherford, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, Deborah.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the fact that there's 3 trials going on, and they have basically, they're starting to say that every one of them are incompetent to stand trial.
Wait. Are you talking about 3 trials within the Arena Zarutska, the Charlotte train stabbing situation?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
is there 2 other cases?
That's one of them, and then the other case is Athena Strand, and the other case is the one with the woman that lived in Everman that they couldn't find their 6-year-old handicapped son.
Oh, God, these are terrible cases. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and they said on the news today that she's incompetent to stand trial for that. So here's the thing. Is it the psychologist or the psychiatrist that make that assessment, and then they give it to the judges? They're complicit with it. They just do a stamp and say incompetent. Is this all political that they just, it's just terrible. It's terrible. All those people should be standing trial.
Oh, Deborah, I feel like I don't have any good answer for you on this. I don't understand any of that. I don't understand why there's even a provision in our legal system that allows you to escape a trial just because you're a crazy person. I think anybody who's going to stand up and stab a sweet little 23-year-old on the train is mentally incompetent, but he still needs to go to trial. He still needs to go to jail, and he still needs to be hung. Hung his incompetent ass. That's what does that have to do with anything?
And that Tanner Homer that picked up that little girl and raped and murdered her.
Shut up! Oh, wood chipper, straight to the. I don't care if he's incompetent. Wood chipper, feet first.
They're starting to bring it out that he's.
Hang on, I'm throwing him in.
Voices.
All right, there we go.
Kind of stuff, and they're about to say he's incompetent too to stand.
They
trial.
better not. All right, thanks for making me throw up, Deborah. I appreciate that.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, this is serious. We got to talk about it because it's happening. I have 4 children that are growing up in this world, Deborah. I would like to fix some of these.
I have grandchildren. This is wrong.
All right, well,
grandchildren, and this is wrong. They all need
Deborah,
to
I agree. I just got to go. I agree.
Okay,
Thank you very much for your call. That's Deborah in Weatherford. Coming up next, we have a new abbreviation that just dropped. I'm going to play you the clip here, but I'll play you the full context coming up next. This is a Canadian socialist, so it's even more socially than your American socialist.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2SLGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
Find out what all those initials mean next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Come on. We got to learn some new abbreviations. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, and if you think our American socialists are a little weird, just go a little bit north. Go to our neighbor up there, the top hat for America. They call it Canada. And the socialists there are even a little more socialisty than here. By the way, I saw it right after the James Show yesterday. It would have been perfect because on the James Show yesterday, we spent about an hour talking about people who are scared of data centers. They're so scary. Did you know that I wish I had audio of this. I just read it. But Bernie Sanders and AOC are working on a bill for a nationwide moratorium on data centers. Are you mean to tell me that you're more in line with Bernie Sanders and AOC than me? You're on the same side? That's the anti-data center side. Anyway, not to get off on another topic there. Just want to let you know, Canadian socialists, even worse than that. So there's a lady, and look, I get it. Her job is based on getting as much sympathy and pity and therefore money out of the Canadian government as possible. Her name, it's nothing crazy. Leah Gazan, Gazan. That doesn't look that weird. But on X, her handle is Leah Proud Lakota, and then in parentheses, she, her. Okay, this is already starting as a bit of an uphill climb. But this is the clip that went viral. I'm going to play the whole minute in context, but this is the little 11 seconds that everyone's passing around.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
Yeah, that wasn't a really long word in Russian. That was a bunch of letters. I'll let you hear it again. M something or other.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
Yeah. Look, I'm almost impressed because you can't see in the video. She's not saying this from notes. She's not reading this. Apparently, she said this so many times before that this just rolls off of her tongue.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
All right, MMIW G2SL GBTQQIA+. Who are the pluses? If you're not covered by the first 28 letters, you're just being a jerk at this point. You're not covered by MMIWG2SL GBTQQIA. Yeah, I got to add a plus in there because one of the Q's isn't it queer? Like, I don't know exactly what I am. I'm just under the general umbrella of this whole string of terms. So wouldn't the plus fit under the Q? One of the two Q? I don't know, man. I don't know. But look, here's what it stands for. Missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls and two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. We're all familiar with that one. Queer, questioning, intersex, and asexual. What the heck? So the new stuff on that is mostly at the beginning. Missing and murdered Indigenous women. If you're a missing and murdered Indigenous dude, screw you. No one cares. Or if you're a missing and murdered white woman, screw you. We don't care. We only care. What is going on? What is two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, asexual? So in two-spirit, like if someone's like schizophrenic or they have like multiple personalities, I don't think that's what we're talking about. Anyway, enough joking around. Let me play the whole minute for you in context. It's just a bureaucrat griping about her budget getting cut and saying that horrible things are going to happen if we don't spend billions and billions of tax dollars.
I was shocked to find out that Prime Minister Carney is cutting $7 billion between Indigenous Services Canada and Crown Indigenous Relations. They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent. This is callous. This is callous because the very Liberal government that has stripped organizations of life-sustaining funding has now committed $13 billion. $13 billion on military spending.
You know, this is so weird. How do indigenous people need the services of their European colonizers in order to be made whole? They were living here just fine before you showed up. You think there's some Eskimo living in an igloo clubbing a baby seal right now who need your help? These are the last people that need help. They can live off the land. You can go drop off natives in just the middle of the wilderness. They'll carve out their society. It's all they've known, supposedly. What a weird world we live in. And here's where it gets hilarious. How many letters are in this thing now? M, M, I, W, G, 2, S, L, G, B, T, Q, Q, I, A. 15 letters and a plus. And you know who that still doesn't include? Me. Doesn't matter how many letters they add to it. They could add 15 letters. They're saying pretty much anything other than James on this one. It's like the pride flag. It started out as a rainbow flag, and it's like, yeah, it's just for the gays, and well, I guess the lesbians too, and well, we're gonna add some of the stripes over here and on the one side to include trans people, and then we're gonna add a couple more stripes to include black people, and then how about any indigenous or person of color, anybody but white people? Then we'll do a little circle here for women's rights. It doesn't matter how much garbage they add to that flag; it never includes me. This is what kills me about the whole DEI. You're not inclusive. I'm not included. I'm never included in DEI. I'm never considered, hey, how about for diversity we include some straight white men? No, not that diversity. Shut up, Parker. I'm trying to discriminate against straight white men here, and you're ruining it with logic. Coming up next on The James Show, Aaron Anderson from Texas Scorecard. If you're familiar with the show, you know it's going to be something about some nasty perverted teacher. Well, this one's in Allen, and he's not going to jail. And he was found guilty. Details next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. All right, we have more misbehaving teachers in North Texas. This one seems to be going with just minimal amount of punishment. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. You're home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. By the way, I just want to give thank you to the best comment of the day. Shayna says of my last story, they might as well sing the alphabet at this point. We'll get back to that after we talk to my next guest. Erin Anderson from Texas Scorecard's coming back on, and I hate having her on because she does the best coverage documenting ill-behaving teachers across the state of Texas. It's her Bad Apple series, and in this one, we go up to Allen for a teacher that got a little too familiar with students, and the punishment seems really lame here. Erin, please explain. Okay, but all right, Erin, I hate to go into any details, and please just keep it at a minimum and vague here, but did he actually touch kids, or was this all just messaging? Do people still do that? Because I remember that was like a big line in comedy shows. Some guy would show up in a trench coat and blah, and then run off. That's a weird one. All right, we're talking with Erin Anderson, TexasScorecard.com. Was this a plea deal and we just had a real soft judge and prosecutor, or did he actually go to trial and be found guilty? Good Lord. All right. So, Aaron Anderson, you have a bunch of other stories about the teachers, and I almost don't want to go over all of them, but it's hard to skip over an elementary school teacher getting accused here. You tell the story, and this just came out yesterday about a guy in Austin. But line them up on the wall. Line them up. I'm tired of hearing these stories. Is this another guy that he probably has a long arrest record too? Do we know? This can't be the first time he's done this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you have ESL students, their parents are probably less likely to want to go to the cops or what. Oh, it's just all right. Aaron Anderson, TexasScorecard.com. Let's just cut it off there before I barf. Thank you very much. You're doing excellent work. I just hate talking about this stuff. You can find her great work, TexasScorecard.com. That's one of the websites I go to on an almost daily basis for show prep. And I signed up for their newsletter too, the Texas Minute. Coming up next. Oh, we're all so much safer now. They've got they found the Stars Nazis and they're banned from Stars games. Details coming up next. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. All right, got to answer some questions about my last two topics here on the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Number one, the killer of Irina Zarutska, the 23-year-old Ukrainian blonde lady on the train in Charlotte, by the guy who just walked off, said, I got that white girl. And he was found not competent to stand trial. Some people were saying, what does that mean? Does he get turned out in the streets? No. He's not going to get turned out in the streets. He's just not going to be charged by the state for those state crimes. He's still being held because there's some federal charges that are pending. I don't know if one court finding him incompetent to stand trial means that that's going to be accepted in his other trial. I don't know. I do know he's in custody as of now. I don't know how long that's going to last. I am not a lawyer. I am not going to pretend to know things that I don't know. So, yeah, look, he may still end up in prison for the rest of his life, but it won't be because of the hard work and diligent work of the prosecutors and judge who have dealt with him so far. The other feedback that I got kind of an avalanche on is our new favorite Canadian socialist, Leah Gazan. If you missed it, this is what I'm talking about.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2SLGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
So if you missed that, that was a 15-letter abbreviation with plus at the end.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2SLGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
It doesn't get old. Stefan says she left out the C for cracker. Oh, that's the one that would have applied to me, because none of the other ones apply to me. You had a good C in there. That might. We can't put like a H in there for hetero, or actually B. Put a B in there for breeder. Yeah, well, let's celebrate every version of sex, but the one that continues the species. That makes sense, right? Anything you want to do, we will celebrate it, as long as it doesn't reproduce. It's bizarre. I don't get it. I've tried to get it. I've just come to the conclusion that there's nothing to get, because it's not a logical thing. Now, we had the comment of the day came from a Facebook. If you have social media and you want to leave a comment that I see almost immediately, go to one of the video streams and just drop it there, because it pops up on my screen. But Shayna said they might as well be singing the alphabet at this point. And that is hilarious, because when you're saying 15 letters, Shayna is more right than you think. There's only 26 letters in the alphabet, and we've already got the abbreviation up to 15 letters. We're more than halfway there. And some of the harder letters are already taken care of. We've got Q in there twice. On the other hand, this is absolutely going to ruin Scrabble. If we don't get a hold on this and actually just maybe agree on one set of abbreviations. No, you can't use abbreviations in Scrabble anyway, can you? And I don't need to get an email on that. That was a rhetorical question. No, thank you very much. Gary sent a Facebook instant message where it says, I thought the MMIW plus thing was a math equation or some wrestling organization. The woman who used that should only be talking about missing and murdered Indigenous women and not throw out a mind-numbing acronym. What are we spending $9 billion for to right the wrongs here? Again, she's griping about $9 billion being cut from her budget. So I assume her budget's more than that.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2SLGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
The ongoing genocide? Yeah, because that's what we have going on, is the genocide of lesbians. There's let's get rid of those lesbians. It says no one ever. I don't understand how all of these things are grouped together. Look, I've heard a lot of people complain about different demographics. You know, some people are anti-trans and some people are, anti like the intersex but has anyone ever in your entire life griped about lesbians? I've heard them gripe about gays. Like, oh, look at all the gay guys here. Oh, this place is so gay. Everyone said, I was going to this bar, but I had to stop going because too many lesbians kept showing up. No, they'll say that about different races. They'll say that about, young college frat boys showing up. No one's ever complained about lesbians in your entire life. So, yeah, maybe they don't need to be in there. Can we just shorten that down to maybe 14 letters? Because everybody likes lesbians. right? If you go to the bar, they're not getting in a fight. They're not the ones that are filling up the jails. Heck, that's straight men more than anything else that are filling up the jails. So coming up on the James Show, kind of got a little sidetracked there. We have a beer truck that was stolen. Really stupid story. And then there's been some slight updates on the Iran situation that have happened since the James Show started. And so I'll feed you a couple more details on what's going on with what seems to be an improving situation so far on a Thursday. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, if you're running around with pain, I don't know if it's from something that built up over time or you had an injury of some sort, but you're worried about surgery. Hey, that's a legit concern. I've never had surgery in my life. I don't want to be put under. I don't want someone cutting me open. I don't want someone rearranging and putting in screws or throwing in some silly putty or whatever they're going to do in there. I don't want to have to miss work. I don't want to have the downtime. I don't want to have the painful recovery. I don't want to have to get some prescription drugs or whatever to recover from it, whether it's antibiotics or painkillers or what. I don't want to go through all that. Well, if you're like me, maybe you should try QC Kinetics, because QC Kinetics is an outpatient thing. And look, if the first round of treatment is platelet-rich plasma, PRP, that's something that can be done right there in front of your face in a matter of minutes. They just take out some of your plasma, they spin in a centrifuge, they squeeze back in the platelet-rich sludge that they've made from your own body. And that's something that can be done while you're just standing in the office. They don't have to put you under. You don't have to wear the embarrassing robe. You don't have to get on a bench with butcher paper on it. They don't have to put you under. None of that. And even the second-tier treatments are just outpatient. It can be done right in front of your face in a matter of minutes. You don't have to miss work. You don't have any downtime. You don't have to spend the night at a hospital. You don't have to get naked and put on an embarrassing gown. So there's a lot of good reasons to use QC Kinetics, especially if you're concerned about surgery, because I cannot blame you for wanting to avoid that. The consultation's free, so don't wait. Call today, 972-972-8610. 972-972-8610. Hey, I got a quick update on the Iran situation. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. You can hear them on Before the James Show, 11 to 2 weekdays on WBAP. Stories you won't hear anywhere else. I got you all caught up at the beginning of the show. I'm not going to go rehash all that. I just want to give you what's happened in the almost 3 hours since we first started here. And reports are, some people have reported that Tehran, the capital of Iran, is charging tankers a toll to get access through the Straits of Hormuz. Donald Trump wrote on True Social, there are reports that Iran is charging fees to tankers going through the Hormuz Strait. They better not be, and if they are, they better stop now, President, and then in all caps, Donald J. Trump. Now, Iran had that as one of their points in their little 10-point plan. They would like to be able to collect tolls from ships going through the strait as a condition of the ceasefire. That's dumb. You weren't getting a toll beforehand. Why would you be asking for something you didn't even have beforehand in a ceasefire? But the Financial Times reported yesterday that someone from Tehran had said that they were going to do the cryptocurrency equivalent of about $1 per barrel of oil during the 2-week ceasefire. So what, it can't be traced and whatnot? And that means it'll go around our sanctions. They don't need the SWIFT banking system? Kinda. So crypto is showing some utility in skirting sanctions and the monopoly we have on the international banking system. Not that that's a good or a bad thing. It's indifferent. But Trump has demanded they reopen the Straits of Hormuz as part of the ceasefire. And that seems to be one of the big sticking points, because the ceasefire was supposed to start yesterday and not a whole lot of ships went through, and some reported that they had been blocked. Now, this morning we were told that it looks like ships are going through, and then about midday I had this one report that I shared with you where it sounds like they're just going through willy-nilly whenever they want. So that all sounded good. And I know you probably weren't here at the beginning of the show. ABC News.
Today, a major announcement from Iranian officials. All ships, including American vessels, are now allowed to pass through the Iranian-controlled Strait of Hormuz.
Right, and that was from Iranian officials just this morning. So I don't know where this toll story came from, but if Donald Trump is hearing it and reacting to it on True Social, I got to assume he knows a little bit more than I do at this juncture right now. Donald Trump also has said in a statement today that the U.S. military is loading up and resting. They're not going anywhere. They're going to stay in the region through the ceasefire, so don't expect any withdrawal of troops. Okay, that makes sense. A couple other things before we get out of here. I can't fathom these stories. Did you hear about the beer truck that got stolen? When I say beer truck, I don't mean it was a Ford F-150 with a Bud Light sticker on the side. It was one of the big 18-wheeler tractor trailers.
Indiana, where a high-speed chase of a stolen Bud Light truck ended when the suspect's vehicle, or the Bud Light truck there, crashed into a deputy's vehicle. Authorities say the driver was under the influence. Deputies used pepper balls to get him out of the truck after the crash. He was arrested and now faces several charges. The deputy thankfully was not hurt. And that is a look at your morning snapshot.
So I guess we have to cancel the Parker's Pour next week then. I'm kidding. We'll get beer some other way now. But yeah, the Parker's Pour is coming up a week from today. If you're new to the show, this is something we've started doing every third Thursday of the month. We get together at the Whiskey and Rye Bar in the lobby of the Omni Fort Worth. It's downtown, right next to the convention center. And we do a live show from 2 to 5, hang out with some of our new friends. People come in, they say hi. They get some food, they get some drinks, they judge me based on my appearance, they get some free stuff from the WBAP promo table. And then if you want to hang out after the show, at 5:30, we're playing a round of trivia hosted by me with questions written by me. And then we're doing another round at 6:30. The reason we stagger it is because if you're already there, I don't want to make you wait 2.5 or an hour and a half to play trivia after the show's over. But if you work kind of far away, if you're in a Denton or you're in a Villa or a Midlothian, and you're going to be nice enough to make the trek all the way to downtown Fort Worth to come see me, I do another round of trivia for the commuting crowd that's going to show up a little bit later. So come on out, do that with me. It's 1 week from today, and we're going to do it every third Thursday thus far. Also, if you have a bar or know someone with a venue who would like to occupy some of the other Thursdays, like a first or a second Thursday, we're going to look to sell the first Thursday of the month next. And so then we can do it every other week, and it'll be in different spots. And ideally, we'd like to have at least 4 of these set up to where once a week I'm somewhere else in the Metroplex doing a live show, hosting some trivia, meeting some people, taking some pictures, and having some adult beverages. So, hey, if you're interested in that, get in touch with me. There's 18 ways to do it, and it's 2026. I shouldn't have to hold your hand to make that happen. Also, we have something really cool coming up next week where Kid Rock's coming to town, and he's going to be here in May. And, that's just a couple weeks away now. And this is so cool for the concert that he's doing. He's going to be here May 1st, Dos Equis Pavilion. I'm going to be giving away tickets all next week. And when I say all next week, I'm giving away a pair of tickets on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All 5 of those winners are going to get put in the big hopper for one pair of premium Kid Rock Pavilion tickets. So instead of just getting the lawn tickets, I don't know, have you been to Dos Equis Pavilion? It's got an amphitheater with the covered part with the seats there, and then the rest of it's the lawn up the hill, which is not bad if you got to sit on the lawn. It's at night. You're not going to get sunburnt or anything. But the premium tickets sound awesome. The grand prize winner means you get to go to the meet and greet for you and a guest where you get to not just meet him, but you get Kid Rock VIP merchandise. And I don't know what all is in that. It just says 1 limited edition Kid Rock VIP merchandise collection. So that actually sounds really awesome. So if you hate the show and you find it disgusting and you can't stand me, you should probably listen next week anyway. And I don't mind bribing you with Kid Rock tickets. How about that? All right, that's going to about do it for the James Show today. I appreciate you hanging out. If you need more James Show action, I can't blame you. You're going to have to go find the podcast, wherever you already listen to podcasts. Go find me there. Also, the Outlaw Music Festival featuring Willie Nelson, Wilco, Cheryl Crow, Lucas Nelson, and more coming to the same, to a different pavilion. This is the pavilion at Toyota Music Factory over in Irving, July 3rd. You can get tickets and information at livenation.com, or if you want to win some Willie Nelson tickets from us right now, you can be thrown into the contest by texting Outlaw to 800-288-9227. For Willie Nelson and Wilco Cheryl Crow tickets, text Outlaw to 800-288-9227. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. Totally appreciate you investing your very valuable time. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP.